everybody. Yeah, I'm still alive. Who would have thought? I haven't been here for a while, but you guys are watching DynaMic'd Up, the post show for AEW Dynamite, only right here on bodyslam.net. By hook or by crook, I've been gone the last couple weeks. Shoot job can do that. Some crazy travels, some 4-hour specials on television that don't bode well with it. But that is neither here nor there. We are on the other side of it. We are less than 3 weeks away from AEW All In. Jose Gonzalez here as always, joined by the phenomenal, you know him, you love him, 3 letters, 1 presence. It is JPJ.
Wow, look at that. That was quite the intro. Thank you for that.
I try. You've been holding.
That was a good little tag right there. I liked it.
Yeah, good. I know it's been a while since we've done this gig ourselves.
Yeah, it's been like a month or over a month, maybe. It's been.
Yeah, almost a month. Because we had my episode with Stephanie. I think we had that last week there, and then you and Auntie Collins holding it down for when we had Summer Blockbuster.
Yeah, and, so it's been approaching that. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in full force. You and I thought it was a very fun episode of Dynamite tonight. Yeah, I'm just back, and it is the last day. The last under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of your 20s.
Whatever gave that away? I have no idea.
Yeah.
How did that happen to get it there in the lower third?
You are going to be entering a brand new decade of age.
Yeah.
In just, 75 minutes?
Think that AEW is aging me to the point of entering my third. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, 105 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, who's counting? But
yeah. You know you are.
But aside from my shenanigans with turning older, but we gotta talk about some stuff because it's been a while since I've at least gotten to talk about this as I pop that up in the corner. But it wouldn't be a bodyslam.net production if we didn't talk to you guys about Shroom Bar. Come on, you know them, you love them. It is the only mushroom protein bar made up of not psychedelics but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it'll actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system, and we all know we need that on those nasty-ass gym mats. I needed some Shroom Bar in New York City, because walking through Times Square, that turkey tail would have been pretty nice myself. So I guess I got to practice what I preach. You know what happens. But on top of all that, we have 12 grams of protein in every bar. So if you're interested in saving a little bit on your first order for Shroom Bar, go to eatshroombar.com. Use code BODYSLAM and you're getting 25% off. Come on, that is an unbeatable deal.
Great deal. It's a great deal. 25% off.
Yeah, if there's one thing about me, I love a discount. So
yeah, who doesn't? In today's world, you got to take what you can get. That's a great discount.
But also, we got to toss it to some other stuff, too. The new Patreon for Body Slam, Mr. Corey Hayes bringing us all the scoops as they come in. So if you guys ever want to stay in tuned, spend a little money. I think it's like $5 or $6 for a month at Patreon. You are getting everything as soon as we hear about it here at Body Slam. I think that's well worth it. But also, you also got to make sure that you're giving some slam chats, too. The only way to make sure that your message is showing up right on the screen. Again, remember, anything that's going to be cancelable, it's going to be public. So use that wisely, I will say. But thankfully, we don't have anything too damning after this episode of Dynamite, which has been pretty much like top to bottom, nothing but action. I'm not mad about that at all.
Yeah. 100%. I thought I thought tonight was great. I thought all the matches were really good. It felt very fast. It felt like a fast 2 hours, 2 hours plus a little bit, but it felt fast to me. The action was, it was really good. It was really good. I thought the in-ring was very, very good tonight.
Yeah, I agree too. We even started out outside of the ring, but with some physicality. So we're backstage. We see Luther with the Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm. They're making their way. Look like they're getting ready to come out for a promo. But before anything could happen, the TBS Champion, the CMLL Women's World Champion. Let's see, what else is she right now? She is the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's Champion, the Owen Hart Tournament winner. I forgot what championship she won over in Austria, but she's been carrying that around too. It's 6 belts Monet. and she immediately attacks Luther and Timeless Toni Storm, dragging her out to ringside, calling her a stupid bitch and everything. But most importantly, we see security trying to break it up. Mina Shirakawa comes out to try to break it up, but alas, Mercedes leaving it all on the stage, saying simply, "Let the games begin." So this is after Toni Storm cut a phenomenal promo last week talking about how Mercedes was still in Mexico after winning the CMLL title last week at Grand Slam Mexico, defeating ZXCs, basically saying that she's not just some motherfucker and that Timeless Toni Storm is gonna remain the AEW Women's World Champion. But as if more layers couldn't have been added to this match, I am starting to really turn around on the idea of like this being the big women's match for All In.
Oh yeah. I think they really have skyrocketed this over the last few weeks. I liked seeing the aggressiveness of Mercedes tonight, but like not wasting around. No more fun and game. Like she said, let the games begin, but this is go time. It's go time now. Like you wanted the best. Here I am. And she beat the crap out of her, called her a stupid bitch. And like she was aggressive on the mic, attacking. When she grabbed the mic, the poor stagehand she punched, like she was very much just very angry and heelish and aggressive. And I loved seeing that. And yeah, you and I going into the last pay-per-view, we were leaning Jamie Hayter in that match with Mercedes. That kind of got us here. But this is the biggest match they have. And I think the last couple weeks has proven that by far,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's more so because we thought that we were going to also have the TBS championship represented somewhere on the card.
Yes.
Especially because All In being in Arlington, Texas, just outside of Dallas, who's from Dallas, Athena, who thankfully it seems like she's not going to be entirely left out of the conversation at All In, regardless of what's going to happen with anything with Supercard of Honor. Who's going to win? Mike Sweeney on X is saying Monet or Storm. I don't know yet, which is crazy. I still don't have a prediction.
Yeah, I'm a little in the middle still. I haven't slided one way or the other, but if you had to make me pick right now, I would lean Tony, but I'm really in the middle. I don't know yet.
I mean, honestly, this is a good problem to have where it feels like something's truly unpredictable. I mean, it was last week at Grand Slam Mexico where we did see Toni Storm with her Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego kind of vignette after Mercedes beats UXCs and then catches her by surprise in the ring with Mina Shirakawa distracting her at the ramp, hit a big German suplex after Mercedes is posing with all her championships, barely able to hold them up. I mean, that is a lot of gold for a little lady.
Yes,
and
it
then,
is.
Of course, the ring edit, not by Hang 'em High, oddly enough, who is on a Twitter hiatus until Ilya Dragunov comes back, just in time for someone to rip his gimmick. But you know what? And such is social media. But I am very much looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the women's world title match at All In. I'm 99% certain it's not going to be the main event like we thought it was going to be. It really does seem like it's going to be either the Unified Championship or the World Championship closing the show. But I mean, it's still very much top billing, I would say.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that it could open the show and it could be like set the pace for the evening because it's going to be, early on, Mercedes said it was going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. And I think that that is the bar they're setting for themselves. So
yeah, I mean, we saw the last time women opened a pay-per-view for AEW, it was a match of the night contender, that being the women's Owen finals. So
yes, it was.
I'm not mad about that possibility at all. But we do also get the Young Bucks backstage. They're talking their trash over to Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, talking about how they have a tag team match scheduled for later tonight. But the EVPs having the power that they do, they're like, actually, no, it's gonna happen right now. So you immediately hear Ospreay's music playing as he's trying to scramble to the ring, getting his tape on his wrist, finishing lacing up his boots, and it kind of leads us into our opening match of Ospreay and Swerve going against Blake Christian and Lee Moriarty, and pretty standard tag match. Nothing too crazy about this one, but for what it was, not a bad way to open the show.
No, I thought it was good. I'll tell you this. I think Blake Christian and Lee Johnson should be a babyface tag team. I think the fans would, the way they wrestle and what they can do and the moves they have. I know obviously they're heel characters and it's fine, but I feel like they would be like a good underdog babyface tag team to me.
Yeah, which is crazy to me because I mean the whole thing with Blake Christian's kind of gimmick right now, as we've been seeing with Ring of Honor and GCW, is that he's kind of like a white chocolate kind of gimmick, where he's like basically a Jack Harlow but in wrestling. So like,
Yeah.
it's not really like true heat, but it's like him kind of like playing into his own hype a little bit. Too, Lee Johnson is another one that I feel like we don't get enough of on television, regardless if it's going to be AEW or Ring of Honor. So I would be very intrigued to see kind of him in the mix more and get a little bit more of an identity. But I mean, it's a pretty standard match
Yeah.
here. I mean, we do see Swerve picking up the win with the house call. It's really the post match that makes this opening segment that much more memorable because obviously Swerve and Will Ospreay have made no friends out of the Young Bucks. So, of course, them not being afraid to talk about them overstepping their power and constantly getting in the way of things, they issue the challenge for All In for a tag match against the Bucks. But Ospreay decides, you know what, let's make this a little bit more interesting. And he wants them to put their titles as EVPs on the line. Of course, this is after the Bucks are already at ringside, not really interrupting, but getting a closer look at Ospreay and Swerve. And of course, as soon as Ospreay says that, you see them diving over the top rope, taking them out at ringside, which kind of takes us into the break a little bit too. But we do find out afterwards that it seems that instead of really answering about the challenge, they're going to be suspended without pay for a week, said the Young Bucks. So that was a nice way to kind of add a little bit more fuel to this fire. But overall, I'm looking forward to what this match could be, especially if that stipulation is going to be official too. Just because obviously we know like the true office side of things, the Young Bucks are truly the EVPs, but I'm very curious to see what it would entail on TV.
Yeah. See, obviously adding that adds more stakes to the match and that makes the match more exciting. But I feel like that, as of right now, I feel like that kind of would dictate the winner to me because I feel like the Bucks wouldn't lose that. Obviously, in real life, they wouldn't. They're not, you know.
I mean, stranger things have happened in AEW.
Yeah, I guess. But I look at All In and I'm like, all right, this is going to be a full on good guys take it back show, right? If they do that, right? Like you would think Ospreay and Swerve take the EVP titles, and then at the end of the night, you know, so yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this match. This match is going to be incredible. You know, yeah, it's just going to be so good. And this tag match, like you said, was solid and stuff like that. But the Bucks, this feels like a big time tag team match. Like, and the tag team division needs a match like this. Sadly, you would hope it would be in the tag team title division, which I think we're going to get a good one there too. Yeah. But this is a huge tag team match. Huge. And it's going to be great.
I agree. I feel like considering the fact that you have 4 top stars not being involved in any sort of championship match at all, and I feel like this is a good way to keep their elevated status, but also give them something really to fight for. And the good thing about having a little bit of space between All In and All Out this year is that you have enough time to kind of build in between both shows, because you have that little break with Forbidden Door. Obviously, that's going to be the interpromotional show with New Japan, with Stardom, with if CMLL decides to show up, obviously they have their stake as well. But I'm very curious to see how this is all going to play out for the rest of the summer, just because even if we do see the EVPs change hands into Ospreay and into Strickland, I'm very curious to see, okay, you have the power, now what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Or if the Bucks win, how they're going to double down on it and become even more dastardly. So who is to say?
Yeah, it should be a good time. It should be a good time.
Yeah, and then ironically, we did also get a video package hyping up Kota Ibushi being back in AEW after he came back last week to save Kenny Omega from the Don Callis family. We do also have a little bit of a backstage thing because after the Bucks were trying to suspend Swerve and Ospreay, you see Okada coming out, kind of basically telling them to chill for a little bit too, and then Roppongi Vice showing up backstage, looking down the Elite, kind of alluding to their history back in New Japan.
Yeah, it was good.
We're getting ready for the return match of Kota Ibushi, who's going against Trent Beretta of Roppongi Vice. But yeah, I'm very excited that Kota Ibushi's back because I feel like we're actually going to get something with the Golden Lovers, regardless of what happens with the Unified Championship match at All In. I'm very excited for the possibility of seeing Omega and Ibushi back on the same page. Hopefully, I'll be very curious to see if they're going to make their way into the tag division because I feel like that is a hot team to have with the way they've been going around the division all summer so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you add them to the tag division, that is a gigantic add. to that. Ibushi, and I know we're going to talk about the match here in a second, but yeah, and he looked healthy. He
Yeah.
looked good. He looked healthy. And I do agree with you. I do think we are going to get, obviously, he's going to be intertwined with this Omega stuff. We are going to get the Golden Lovers. And, we're going to find out in a little bit what we're going to be getting next week from him for free on television. It's crazy. But yeah, no, I'm with you. And I when I saw that this match was booked, I was very excited because I've always loved Trent. He's been solid everywhere. I've liked him since the old WWE. Like, he's just a great wrestler. I think he's an underrated talker.
I agree.
He's really good. I really, really like Trent. So I was looking forward to this match, and I liked what we got.
Yeah, and I will say the thing with Trent Beretta is that people were so quick to kind of dismiss the dude Busters back in the day with WWE and NXT and everything. To see him really come into his own after leaving WWE the way that he did, he went through the Indies, he went through Japan, he went through Ring of Honor, to where he is now. He's really showed that just because you might be running the mill like a mid-card or somewhere else doesn't mean that you can't find a way to break out of it if you're willing to put in the work, and he clearly has. Even with the best friend stuff, whether it's been Roppongi Vice, stuff like this. So this match, it was a pretty fun way to reintroduce Kota Ibushi to AEW fans in the ring. I do like the fact that Rocky Romero was as involved in it as he was, to really kind of be like, oh, Coda's back, and we want to make sure, like, oh, he just came back from a pretty serious injury. What can we do to add fuel to the fire? So we got to see some big moments there. I mean, Coda had a huge power slam at one point to Trent Beretta, but I think the big sequence that really got me thinking, like, oh, God, maybe Coda isn't going to make it after all. We had a big Psycho knee from Trent Beretta, and then a guy-style pile driver spiking the hell out of him for a 2 count. That was as close as possible, but we got to see Coda fighting back. Trent went for a half-and-half suplex. He hit that, and then Kota Ibushi shrugging it off, hits a dragon suplex. We got very close roll-ups from both men, but eventually the Kamigoye by Kota Ibushi steals the win. But it's Kazuchika Okada that comes about after the match, stares down Kota Ibushi, because next week on Dynamite 300, live from the Toyota Center, Ontario, California, we have ourselves Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi one-on-one.
It's crazy.
God knows how long. I think it's the first time in AEW for certain.
Oh yeah. That is an insane match for free on a Wednesday. We're blessed.
Yeah.
About
that.
No, yeah, and that is I am very much, that is a gigantic match. When I saw them doing that, I was like, wow, we're lucky that we're gonna get that, and they're not, because that's a match you could throw on any pay-per-view and it is worth the $50 alone. That's going to be incredible next week. I'm very excited about that too. I'm very excited about that.
I think it's going to be a little bit more akin to that match that Okada had with Speedball at Double or Nothing than it is the match that he had with Mark Briscoe at Grand Slam. But I'm excited for this one. I feel like it's going to be a hard-hitting affair. We're going to see Big Bat and Okada coming out. I think this is really going to help set the stage for what's to come at All In, because who better than to make an example out of than the closest ally that your opponent has?
Yep.
So regardless of whether Ibushi sneaks one out, or if we're going to see Okada just dominate him to the point where even after the match, the Don Callis family continues the beatdown, seeing how Kenny Omega responds to that if he's able to, just with obviously the beatdown that we've seen before. He's been coughing up blood. So it seems like Don Callis family making sure that they remind Kenny Omega who is really out to get him. So,
and I feel like that's the way it goes, right?
Oh my
gosh, Kenny makes it's Dynamite 300. Kenny makes the triumphant save for Ibushi next week. That's his big return, and
you would think so. Absolutely,
he makes the save because Ibushi's getting beat up by the gang, and and that's the moment, and it's like, holy crap, and they're back in the ring together at Dynamite 300, and it's like the Golden Lover. Oh yeah, that's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be incredible.
Oh my gosh, yes. But I mean, aside from that, we do also have Jon Moxley backstage cutting a promo on the staircase. Basically talking about is Hangman Adam Page going to grab the present moment this time and not let it go like he's done in the past. He doesn't say so. He says that Hangman's afraid. He's afraid of what the world needs him to become. Moxley says he's sick. He has less than zero sympathy for a man like that. A world champion doesn't fly or shy away from responsibility. They walk into the fire and they take nothing from nobody. He's telling Hangman to reach out and grab it. Don't shy away from what you've been given. You're not what these people think you are. And then while Hangman's worried about friends and getting in his own head, he's going to get elbowed in the face. He's going to get choked into oblivion. He's going to get dumped on his skull, and he's going to show the world what a real world champion looks like, while Hangman's going to be looking for another job.
I love that last line. You're going to be looking, you have to go get another job, look for a new job. I was like, wow. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I did take a.
Oh, go for it.
I was gonna say I did take offense to him ragging on the crybaby emo crap as being a scene kid back in the day. Take it easy, John. Take it easy, John, when it comes to that. No, but this was a great promo from Moxley. I liked it a lot. I like how he's so calm, and then he can just kind of turn it on in a split second for like one line. He'll get aggressive and yell, and then he goes right back to being calm. And then he's just really good. Like, and when it's like this type of thing where it's like a recorded thing, he's in his own little area, like the stairwell or a basement or things like it. He just crushes it with these promos. He crushes it.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he lets things simmer. He'll like change his cadence a little bit too. It doesn't feel like one Jon Moxley promo is the same as everything else, which is much appreciated because it feels like a lot of times you get these paint by number promos, not just in AEW but anywhere really, where you already know what you're going to get before you get into it, but kind of having this X factor of how low can the Death Riders go, it really does make it a little bit more intriguing. So
yeah.
And then after the break, we come back to AR Fox backstage with Renee Paquette.
Yeah.
They're talking about how momentum is starting to build for him. Yes, he did have a few matches in defeat against Jon Moxley, but nonetheless trying to look to build some momentum. And as he's talking, in comes Ricochet, who is a longtime frenemy, I guess you could say, of AR Fox. He's talking about how he's been looking for specific individuals with unique skill sets to become a partner. And he has his eyes on AR Fox to team with him tonight to go against Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And then as AR Fox is thinking about, I don't know, like he doesn't even get a chance to respond because he didn't realize his hand was extended per se. Ricochet sneaks the handshake. He says it's official. AR Fox looks dumbfounded and
can't go back on your word. Handshakes can't go back on your handshake. Your word's your word.
Famous last words.
Yeah, good stuff.
But nonetheless, that does lead us into our next match of Ricochet and AR Fox going against Jet Speed of Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. And this was a high-octane tag match, as you would expect with a Jet Speed match. I cannot complain about that. I will say it looked like from the very beginning, Ricochet did kind of throw AR Fox to the wolves for a little bit, but AR Fox is standing tall. You got to see some dives to the outside, a big spinning suplex. And then it seems like during the break, things were going in their favor. You got to see Ricochet in control of Kevin Knight a little bit more. Is really after the break where the dissension started to happen, where they weren't able to capitalize on some double team offense. You got to see Kevin Knight get that hot tag to Speedball Mike Bailey, and things just start going from there. You got to see a big standing shooting star press from Speedball to get the pin, but Ricochet saving it in time. Big double drop kick sends Ricochet out to the floor. We got to see Bailey kind of get a tag, but Ricochet pulled him out, sent him into the steel steps and everything too before getting back into the ring. And then Kevin Knight also takes out Ricochet back on the outside. We got to see a big slingshot Spanish fly by AR Fox for a double down on Speedball Mike Bailey. They were both looking for tags. Knight was able to get in. He was extending that tag, but Ricochet, not too pleased with the way this tag match was going. He leaves. He tucks his tail between his legs. He's going towards the ramp. And of course, that doesn't bode well for AR Fox, who just eventually gets the loss handed to him by way of a UFO splash from Kevin Knight. Jet Speed gets another win. AR Fox left kind of stunned by, wow, I didn't even agree to this match, and here I am on my back. And then Ricochet up on the ramp, undoing his tape and walking to the back. Just stuff you would expect from Ricochet, being kind of a sleazy guy. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, he was such a bad teammate. It was awful. And like you said, at the beginning of the match, he throws him to the wolves. Then when he has an opportunity to kind of get in there and like take advantage of the situation that AR Fox helped put them in, he's, digging in and he's looking good. And then at the end, he's like, nah, screw this guy. Like, just a terrible teammate. But even in defeat, AR Fox was excellent. Because he wrestled basically this whole match for them.
He was the highlight of the match,
and
too,
he was the highlight of
something with how all four men are just human highlight reel machines.
Yeah,
but I think it was a good showcase for AR Fox, regardless of the outcome. It's going to be
100%.
interesting to see if they're still going to build this. Will Ricochet actually find a tag partner? Or is he going to realize he's better left alone, not because of anybody else, but just because of his inability to be, just tolerated, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that move that AR Fox did when he like ran over and flipped over the ropes and like feet first landed on the guy that was on the apron and then did the dive to speedball. Yeah. What a sequence that was. That was like, and he's innovative like that. He does moves that in the way he flips, and he's really, really good. I'm glad that he's been kind of showcased here over the last few weeks or so because he's really good. And yeah, even though he lost, I thought he was easily the best part of this match. And hopefully that continues to build for him because I would like to see him on TV more often. He's very good.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like he is someone that would benefit the TNT title picture a lot. I feel like we're going to get into that later, obviously, because there's a promo from Adam Cole. But
yeah,
it feels like he is someone that could benefit from a little bit of a rub with that championship and kind of reestablish the mid card for sure. After the match, Tony Schiavone's up on the ramp, talked about how Jet Speed has been on fire, and Speedball agreeing, basically saying with great power comes great responsibility. The tag team championships have been held hostage for far too long, and they need a team to rescue them. Kevin Knight agreeing, saying that they want those championships around their waist, so they're gonna call out the World Tag Champions, the Hurt Syndicate. And my favorite part was Kevin Knight basically alluding to MVP's old WWE theme. 1, 2, you hear the clock ticking, and before he could even finish saying what he was about to say, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin take them all out, beating them to hell all around ringside, sending them into the steps, into the barricade, into the apron. Eventually, you get Kevin Knight getting choked up by Shelton Benjamin after some suplexes on the floor. He gets laid out on a table that MJF and MVP bring out. And then as he's draped across the table, you see Bobby Lashley taking Speedball Mike Bailey up and down through Kevin Knight, through the table with a Uranagi. And MVP, the one to maintain some level of decorum is, odd as that sounds with the Hurt Syndicate, he asked for the production truck to hit their music so they can handle business properly as they make their way into the ring for a little bit of a promo.
Great. So before we get that, great camera shot. When the music hits, they start walking towards the ring, but the camera stayed there and you just saw Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight stacked together on the table. And it was just a great visual. That was a great shot.
And I'll even say during the promo, too, you could still kind of see up the ramp them getting tended to by medical.
Yeah.
Them trying to clear the table out of there, clear Jet Speed out of there. So some nice continuity from AEW with the production. But nevertheless, Hurt Syndicate is in the ring. MVP has the microphone. He says he has an official announcement about how the World Tag Team Champions, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, they're begging somebody to stand up to them. And he even mentions, if Jet Speed can, stand up themselves, they might consider that World Tag Team Championship match at All In. But again, the key factor being if they are able to stand after getting beaten brutally. And of course, MVP being the gentleman that he is, he's asking for the undivided attention of the crowd so he could hand the mic over to MJF, who gets booed to oblivion. I mean, it's just birds to a feather, really. But of course, before they can even get into any of that, you have MVP and Max just volleying over their hatred for the crowd, ripping into them. And of course, MJF announcing that next week he's entering into a qualifier match for the men's Casino Gauntlet. And once he wins that Casino Gauntlet, he's one step closer to getting his AEW World Championship back. Not Moxley's, not Hangman's, not anybody else's, but his own. And as he's saying for production, hit their music, out comes Mark Briscoe, because obviously the next match we have is going to be for the men's Casino Gauntlet, seeing who the number one entrant is. But Mark Briscoe's out there. He's basically saying, we know that Max can hear himself talk all night long, but Mark got word from the production truck basically saying, hey, try to get them to cut it out because we need to get into this next match. And MJF basically saying he doesn't give a damn what time it is. They can take as much time as they want, as long as they want, wherever show that they're on. And MJF also is mentioning that the people can relate to Mark Briscoe because just like him, he's dirt ugly and dirt poor. And they have as many bills in their pockets as he has teeth in their mouth. He says if he gets into this ring, Mark Briscoe is going to do what he always does and lose. He says that he should go back to his ranch and scoop up some chicken shit and like the blue collar bitch that he is. And Mark saying that's hilarious because he could see right through MJF, his inner turmoil, coming from a place of hurt, being bullied as a child, empathy being the word of the day as the crowd chants it. He says that Max is trying to compensate for something. It comes from a place of insufficiency, saying that he has a teeny tiny kosher pickle. If he had that, he'd hang with the Hurt Syndicate too, And MVP basically saying, okay, we're only out here for business and this isn't that. He proposes that the Hurt Syndicate leaves the ring, and as that happens, Kosher Pickle is chanting throughout the arena, and you see that stare down on the entranceway as Mark Briscoe and the Hurt Syndicate interact, and MVP doubling down on the fact that they're going to watch him do what he does best and lose, as we say hello to Henry Blanco in the YouTube chat. Hello, sir. But
How are you doing, Henry?
Very good promo for the Hurt Syndicate, I would say.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was really good. I thought MVP was really good in his segment. Obviously, we know what Max can do. And I actually thought Briscoe came out, and I thought that was funny. I thought that was a funny sequence. Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought the stuff about the pickle and all that stuff and MJF's reaction to it was awesome. I never thought I would hear an empathy chant at a pro wrestling show, so that was pretty cool. Nor did I think I'd ever hear a kosher pickle chant either. But
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, but I thought this whole sequence was really good. I thought everyone did their part and did it well. I liked this segment, and clearly it looks like we're heading to, obviously I assume they're both going to end up in the Casino Gauntlet match, but this is clearly pitting Mark Briscoe and MJF against each other here and whatever they want to do with this for the next few weeks, which I'm all for, because I say it every week. When Mark Briscoe's on my TV screen, Jose, I have a great time.
Oh, it's infectious.
And what happened after was also great with this four-way.
Yes, as we get into it, for the men's Casino Gauntlet, we have a four-way match to determine the number one entrant into the match. We have Mark Briscoe already in the ring. We have the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. We have Paragons, Roderick Strong, and from the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita, and what was a action-packed four-way match. I mean, it was just people were diving in and out of the ring out of nowhere. It was hard hitting. Got to see a big back suplex onto the barricade by Roderick Strong to Mark Briscoe. We got to see some big moments of, are they going to dive off the top rope? You got to see Bandito get tossed out by Takeshita. You got to see Takeshita tossed out by Mark Briscoe. You got to see Roderick Strong evade that froggy bow. But eventually, you do see a froggy bow and a frog splash. A little bit of tandem offense for Bandito and Mark Briscoe, both getting a 2 count there. You got to see Takeshita really getting some big near falls in there, too, of his strikes. A double German suplex on Bandito and Mark Briscoe and hitting a big blue thunder bomb to Roderick Strong for a 2 count. You got to see Bandito hitting the Ace over Queen 21 on Konosuke Takeshita, who rolls out of the ring before he could get the pinfall attempt. Distracted by that, Roderick Strong hitting the end of Heartache on Bandito. And as it seems like Roderick Strong's going to get the win, no, you have Mark Briscoe going off the top rope, hits the froggy bow, and gets the win. He is entering number 1 into the Casino Gauntlet, and you saw the Hurt Syndicate backstage looking rather impressed. So it seems like should Max win his qualifier next week, he might be looking at number 2 to Mark Briscoe's number 1. But this was a very fun 4-way match.
Oh, yeah. This was very good. My favorite match of the night, and there were a lot of great matches tonight. I had a really, really fun time with this one. I thought all 4 of these guys were great in this match. I was pulling for Takeshita personally, because I love that guy. But I thought it was great. And Briscoe being one clearly irked. They did look impressed, but MJF looked annoyed in the back. So clearly it's going to be good. And I think a 1-2 when I would assume MJF wins his qualifier next week. And then them 2 starting the gauntlets, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree too. And I do like the fact that not only do we have the men's Casino Gauntlet this year, we do have a women's one as well.
Yes, it's great.
Which, I mean, the big complaint going into this year's All-In was the fact that it seems like there was only going to be that one women's match being the World Championship without having the TBS title on the line. This is a fantastic way to get more women on the card, especially because it seems like right now we're not really sure if they're going to do a tag team championship for the women. I feel like it should have happened by now. I'm more surprised that we didn't get that, but we're getting a women's pure championship in Ring of Honor, but nonetheless, that does happen. We do have a backstage promo from the TNT champion, Adam Cole, basically calling out any member of the Don Callis family as they've been a thorn in his side, basically saying an open challenge for tomorrow in Collision. Any member that wants to step up can get a shot at that championship, and they're also going to get their ass whooped, and that's undisputed. So little bit of electricity going into Collision tomorrow night, special start time, which I'm not sure if they flexed it because they thought the NBA. Well, no, what's going on Saturday? Because the NBA Finals finished already.
On Saturday.
Yeah,
well, I know the NBA. I know the NBA draft is happening tonight and tomorrow, so it's not. What's Saturday?
That's what I don't know. Well,
who knows?
Nonetheless, hopefully it's the last time for a while that we get to see Collision Flux, because now that most sports seasons are over, aside from MLB, really, I think we don't have to accommodate too much because Stanley Cup happened, NBA Finals happened. Yep. I really don't understand what else could interrupt them, but
me neither.
Yeah, nonetheless, on the women's side of things, we have another four-way match for the number one entrant. Got to see Chris Statlander going against Willow Nightingale, the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena, accompanied by Billy Starks and Thunder Rosa, the only woman in this match to hold the AEW Women's World title. I thought it was a fine match. I feel like it had a couple lulls more so than the men's qualifier did, but regardless, I still enjoyed all the components of this match, though. Got to see a big Tower Doom that Willow Nightingale got to send off before the break. A lot of action between Athena and Thunder Rosa, as we've been seeing on Ring of Honor. I know tomorrow for Global Wars, we have that tag match where it's Athena and the World Television Champion Red Velvet going against Persephone from CMLL and Thunder Rosa. Kind of seems like Thunder Rosa is being poised for that Arlington Supercard of Honor match for the world title. So that's going to be interesting to see what's going on there, and especially whatever the result of that match being, how that's going to relate into All In the next day. But we got to see Athena showing off some power, going for a huge deadlift powerbomb that got countered by Chris Statlander basically shoving Thunder Rosa on top for a mounted pin. Got to see a lot of action on the outside a little bit too. It looked like Athena had Thunder Rosa in control. She's selling Billy Starks, go grab my belt. And then before she could do that, we got to see Thunder Rosa sending Athena into the steel steps. And then Athena, trying to get the best of it, hit a huge suplex off those steps, kind of takes her and Thunder Rosa out of the equation. Meanwhile, in the ring, you saw Chris Statlander taking a huge cannonball from Willow Nightingale, and as it looked like she was getting ready for the Babe with the powerbomb, out comes Marina Shafir for a little bit of a distraction, and it looked like Wheeler Yuta got in the ring trying to attack Willow herself, but instead ate a big pounce there. But that slight distraction proving to be too much because it was Chris Statlander who was able to hit Wednesday Night Fever, gets the pin, and Stat is going to be the first entrant in the Women's Casino Gauntlet as Marina Shafir is looking on, which is very interesting after that backstage that she had last week with Jon Moxley, basically trying to double down, basically say, don't take anything from anybody, don't let them tell you who you are. So I'm very intrigued to see if Chris Statlander is going to walk the line and join the Death Riders and do her own thing, but I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to play into the Women's Casino Gauntlet now.
I am too. I'm happy Statlander won. I like Chris Statlander a lot. So I'm glad she won and she'll be first and get that moment in there. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the potential of Statlander joining the Death Riders. I'm very intrigued by it. I don't know if I want it to happen or I want her to end up feuding with them.
I feel like I want her to still be a Lone Ranger, but have that moment of will she, won't she, for her to ultimately be like, no, I got to do it for myself.
Yeah.
And whatever comes of that comes of it. But
but I'm very intrigued. I think this is the way Shafir was clearly Shafir, at first she comes out and you're like, oh, well, she's had issues with Willow, so she's just coming out here to screw Willow, which she was. But then afterwards, when she's clearly not interested in Willow anymore, she's interested in Statlander. She's looking right at her the whole time. And it's like, okay, so is that Shafir saying, hey, like, come join? Like, I'm very intrigued to see what they do with this.
So here's where things get a little bit more of a wrench thrown into it, because we find out the next week on Dynamite 300, it is Mercedes Moné defending her TBS championship against Mina Shirakawa. Now, here's where things are going to get even more interesting, because for whatever reason, I have a feeling that somehow, some way, we're going to crown a new TBS champion next week. Because not only do you have the frustration of Mercedes losing one of her championships before All In, as to Tony's closest ally at the moment being Mina Shirakawa. Now, should that happen and we go into All In and Mercedes defeats Tony Storm, that's already going to be Mercedes finally the world champion. Makes total sense. With a Casino Gauntlet, usually whoever enters the earliest stands the best chance because the match ends at the first pinfall, first submission.
Mm-hmm.
If Chris Statlander is entering at number 1 and she wins, and Mercedes is going to be the world champion, by God, you have not only the best third match in their little series they have going on, but for the Women's World Championship on top of that, you have a very spicy all-out match pretty much right then and there.
Yes, you do. And it would be the trilogy, and it would be a great first opponent for a world champion Mercedes. An established feud. We know the quality that we will get. Statlander trying to get that win. She's come so close twice, but hasn't been able to pull through. Can she do it to be the champion for the first time? That would be fantastic if they went that route.
Yeah, especially for the fact that it's a championship that has eluded her thus far. I mean, she was a former TBS champion. It's different when a world championship is involved in the mix because it adds that much extra pressure to wanting to up your game, to want it that much more. And at a stage like All Out, which is one of the biggest shows of the year, especially around Labor Day weekend, having someone with the hubris of a Mercedes Moné, regardless of if she's going to still be TBS champion, whether she loses that championship, if she is the world champion, that is going to make a huge moment. And having someone like Chris Statlander win or lose, as if her stock can be elevated anymore, having a very serious threat to the Women's World Championship is something that I'd love to see. But regardless,
I agree.
only time will tell. Let's see. We have ourselves a little bit of a recap from last week on Collision. We have the Patriarchy talking about how they want to become the first father and son, I use in quotations, AEW World Tag Team Champions. So very interesting to see what's going to come of that, if they throw their hat into the ring when it comes to all-in stuff. And also, not to be outdone on the tag side of things, we saw FTR backstage with Big Stoke and Renee talking about how the Outrunners basically interrupted their win last week after they were beating down after an 8-man tag on Collision, and basically saying like, hey, that's not cool. We guys were allies and everything too. Big Stoke saying that, FTR, we're God-fearing men. They're good guys, so they want to extend the olive branch for tomorrow night on Collision to just air everything out, let bygones be bygones, get to the bottom of it, and they can move on and be happy. But something tells me I don't think that's going to really happen tomorrow.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I was going to say God-fearing men being the operative phrase there by Big Stoke. But, it is what it is. But main event time has rolled in. We have Hangman Adam Page, the number 1 contender for the World Championship, going against the Beast Mordos, who's been just killing it the last couple weeks.
2 weeks in a row, main event at Dynamite. 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks main eventing. He's been having big match after big match. I mean, Beast Mordo's kind of been the unsung hero, I'd say, for AEW over this first half of 2025. Even when it came down to when they were having the International Championship Eliminator Tournament, him having Speedball's first match in AEW and having the quality of the match they did. Feels like Beast Mordos is showing like, hey, I'm a dependable guy, so whatever you need from me, I will step to the occasion, whether it's going to be for the TNT title, whether it'll eventually be the new Unified Championship. I'm all for it. Give me more.
Yeah, and that report came out saying that Tony Khan requested personally that he be included on that show last week in Mexico. Like that report coming out tells you exactly what the owner of AEW thinks of that guy.
Oh my gosh.
And then you see him in this match with this guy, who a lot of people think is going to be the guy to dethrone Jon Moxley. You don't just put anybody in there with him,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Not even just that. It's also the fact that he was actually kind of banned from Arena Mexico for, I think, the better part of 14 years originally with CMLL.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, I mean, that is thankfully in the past now. Things have been patched over. And he's clearly adding another match to the resume of reasons why he should be in that conversation for some of the best on the roster.
Real good.
A great main event.
Brutal.
Very, very good main event. Hard hitting there.
Yeah.
Got to see a big lariat from Hangman taking him to the floor, a fallaway slam into the turnbuckle. But the way that Beast Mordos is such a larger man, he could strike with the best of them. He could do lucha stuff. He could do power stuff. It really doesn't matter. So got to see him take back and control during the break. You saw some big kicks, a snapmare, and the way that he snapped Hangman's neck with, I don't want to say head scissors, but kind of like the thing where like they're standing in between. Julie does the same move too, but it's just, it's always looks gruesome when they hit it. But Hangman getting back into control after the break. We got to see another big lariat. Looked like he was going to hit that moonsault to the outside, but Beast Mordos evading it and hits a Tornillo suicide dive, which was a thing of beauty. Landing on his feet, no less.
On his feet. On his
dangerous
feet.
That a man of his size is as agile as he is.
Yeah.
Just, you can't ask for much more. And then you get him back in the ring. He hits that big pop-up Samoan drop for a 2 count, which just, again, you have speed, you have power, you have athleticism. Like, what else do you want? And not only that, we got to see some more big offense there. We got to see him going for a tombstone, but instead he goes for the lung blower. Whether or not he's paying homage to his main squeeze Mercedes Moné remains to be seen, but I do like that move, and it looked great. It looked like he was going for it again, but it also looked like Hangman was going to counter with a tombstone of his own, but instead, no. He ended up flipping over for a roll-up. It spiked Hangman in the process, got another 2 count, but Hangman, the wiser, hits a big poison rana, goes out to the apron. He hits that buckshot lariat for the 3 count. He wins this main event match. Looks like he's standing tall, but alas, the lights go out. The lights come back on. You have him on his knees in the middle of the ring at the hands of the Young Bucks who hit the EVP trigger. And just doubling down the fact we were supposed to help you. We didn't want to have to do this. And out come the Death Riders, poised and ready to attack as always. You have Wheeler Yuta with a steel chair. You got Marina Shafir with a chain. And she hands that chain over to Jon Moxley, who chokes the ever-living hell out of Hangman Adam Page in the middle of the ring. Try to see the Ops coming out, but they're getting held off by Yuta and the Bucks. Try to grab chairs, get back in. Somehow Will Ospreay breaks through and then clears the ring for Medical to examine Hangman, but it's just the Ops staring down the heels as they're backing out through the crowd to send the crowd home and close this episode of Dynamite. But a very hot main event, I would say.
Yeah, it was like you said, very hard hitting, a great opponent for Hangman. I mean, obviously we all knew who was winning the match.
Yeah.
But it was still a really, really, really good match. And I thought the angle after was hot. Crowd loves Hangman, man. Like, he's the guy. Hangman is clearly the guy. He's the overwhelming favorite of the crowd. And you have these guys assaulting him, and it looks like he's passed out after it. And they're like reviving him almost in the ring. And it was and the heat that got on everybody. And then, Ospreay comes out and makes the final save, and the crowd pops because Ospreay and Hangman are kind of buds and, things of that nature. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really, really good. Mike earlier in the chat said, do you think it's going to be like a WrestleMania 40 or like Avengers Endgame thing at All In with the run-ins and stuff like that? And it feels like, it feels like they're kind of
I feel like if anything, it's going to be AEW's greatest hits, and I think it's going to come down to one person that's going to be the deciding factor one way or another.
Yes,
it's probably going to be returning Darby Allin.
I would not be shocked.
Yes. Also, Auntie Collins in the chat, our beloved friend, held it down for us during a Fighter Fest. I know
hope you are doing well. I know,
and we hope Miss Penny Lane is doing well.
Exactly. Hope everyone's doing as good as you can. We're thinking of you, and we both love you. So
yes, but overall, I mean, you can't ask for much more for a Dynamite 299 going into next week.
Oh yeah.
We get the glow, baby, glow. Clearly, it's because I look like a greased pig right now. No, I'm kidding. But thank you for the super chat, Miss Auntie Collins. We love you over here at the Body Slam. But
yes, we do.
Overall, I'm very intrigued to see what we're going to do these next 2 weeks because we still have a lot of ground to cover. Don't get me wrong, but the way we're getting there,
it's starting to take shape. It's starting to take form. We got a few we're kind of seeing where they're going and how the card is shaping.
Yeah.
Next week is going to be gigantic, and then it's the go home show, and then it's time. So things are going to be ramping up here. We're going to get a lot of matches added onto these shows over the next few weeks, and I think next week's Dynamite is going to be a special one. They're obviously going to try to ball out, and I think it's the 100th episode of Collision next week as well.
Yeah,
so I think both those shows,
same week, which is crazy, but
so I think both those shows are going to be bigger than normal, and then your go home week, and it's going to be hot and heavy.
And I feel like the big thing is I really want them to cross that 20,000 threshold as far as tickets sold for All In right now. I would love to see them fill up that stadium as much as they can when it comes down to it, because it feels like these next few weeks are going to be make or break television, especially for trying to get those sales going too. I'm excited for what's to come with All In. I feel like now that we have some more matches on the card that just kind of makes sense for their presence being there, it feels like we're actually getting to that status of, this is the biggest show of the year. This is exactly why we're going to be here. But nonetheless, I know we are going to be back here next week to talk about Dynamite 300.
Sure
so
will.
Make sure that you guys are staying tuned with everything going on at bodyslam.net, whether it's going to be some news coming out in articles, live tweets, whether it's going to be a watch along with Corey Hayes, whether it's going to be Potty Slam tomorrow afternoon with Corey Hayes and Cassidy Haynes, as they usually do. We're just going to be watching the Sunday special for our Collision partners with Al and Meek. Just make sure that you guys are here and that you are in the loop. So whether or not you are subscribed to the Body Slam YouTube show, I mean, we got so much going on for pretty much every episode of Wrestling TV, whether it's going to be Raw, SmackDown, TNA Impact. I mean, there's something for everybody over here. NXT. So make sure you're in the loop. JPJ, anything that you are going to be plugging away at, Big Sir?
Yeah, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. over on Love Wrestling. We got Firmly Inc. And then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, between two beards of Pluggo, we got our friend DC Hendricks hopping on Body Slam Zone, and he does a lot of other great stuff. He's hopping on to talk a little Night of Champions with Pluggo and myself, so it should be a good time. And then obviously, like you said, every Wednesday here with you, the Raw stuff after Raw on Mondays. We need to get more, back to that more regularly, but that'll be coming back here. So a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, I know on the topic of Mondays, the next 3 weeks, Mother Tuck and Post show over at our local establishment, myself and Auntie Collins talking RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. Moving to Mondays just because some scheduling stuff. Obviously, my birthday weekend this week. Auntie Collins having some stuff going on with the 4th holiday, as well as going to All In Texas. No less. Come on. Good reason to reschedule, but...
Yeah, I would say so. Oh.
As I'm making sure I don't die on the air, Again, recovering from being sick, but nonetheless, you guys know where to find us on the socials at JPJ Loves Gaming, at Jose in the Air, at Body Slam Net. So, without further ado, we will see you guys next week for another episode of DynaMic'd Up on the road to All In, Arlington, Texas. The biggest show of the year, and these Dynamites are only getting bigger. So, we have plenty to talk about next week, and we will see you then. So, good night, everybody.